Hi, thank you today for coming on with me, Melanie. Melanie is a local homeschool mom, and we are just excited to hear her perspective about more about homeschooling and Unite um, and her family. So, Melanie, why don't you go ahead and start just by introducing yourself and a little bit of your homeschool journey?
Yeah, so my name is Melanie Martinez. I've been homeschooling my children for about 7 years now. Before that, I was fully working, 60 hours a week, 6 days a week. It was, a busy time. When I realized that I really want to spend all of my time with my kids, being the main influence, being who they need me to be and shaping them to be who they need to be in the future. And I figured that that was the most important thing I could be doing. So we chose to homeschool at that point. I had 3 kids when I stayed home and started homeschooling. My oldest in first grade. Now I have 5 kids, um, homeschooling 3 of them. The other 2 are a toddler and a baby. So it's been a fun, crazy whirlwind as I've learned how to do this. It's taken time, um, but I think the Lord is really confirming every time that this is where I need to be.
Oh, that's great. And so, was it really just the spiritual formation of the kids that drew you to homeschooling, or were there other circumstances as well?
Well, I didn't know homeschooling was a thing until I was in college. And truly, the moment I heard that this was a thing, I knew that's what I wanted to do, even before being married or anything. I think I like the idea of, I've always liked teaching, even though I didn't know it at the time. I never thought I wanted to be a teacher, but I've always been around teaching environments and found myself doing some sort of teaching. Uh, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me at the time that this is what one of my giftings would be in the future. But God slowly started teaching me that, and um, when I had kids, I knew that that was my main reason. So number one, definitely the spiritual formation, but number two, it's one of the giftings, and I think we can not shield our kids, but how can I say this best? Prepare them better for what they're going to encounter in the future by being right alongside them when things happen, as opposed to them experiencing it outside of our view, outside of the comfort of the home, and then not knowing how to handle it or being too afraid to speak about it.
That's right. Now, you have a daughter who's, I think, maybe just a little bit behind my son. Mine is 15, and we've just gotten his learner's permit. And let me tell you, that's a whole other fun game. But it's very similar to what you were just describing. I knew we were going to come to this roundabout. And so while we were still parked, I told him, I said, okay, we're going to come and you're going to be in the far right lane, and there's going to be cars trying to come around. But you're going to stay in the right lane. You're going to wait until there's a gap, and then you're going to merge and stay in that far lane and then come and go straight through the roundabout. I said, you're going to be fine. Just, be aware of what's going on.
Mhm.
And, um, and so, he did it like a champ. But, as you were talking, I thought, it's just like that in life. If we know and can prepare them for the things that they're going to be encountering, they can address it with confidence and wisdom and
Mhm.
not freak out, right? If I
Yeah.
had not given him that foreknowledge, he might have been afraid and it could have been disastrous.
Mhm.
And so I think it's the same with life. When we're able to not be in the driver's seat, because at some point they're going to take over in their lives, aren't they?
Yes.
But if we can kind of be there and be a voice of preparation, a voice of reason, it's really giving them all the tools, hopefully, that they need to be able to be ready for what they're going to do.
Yeah, my
Oh,
oldest is 13, and I think I'm starting to experience handing over the steering wheel a little bit, letting her be in places on her own and having to um, trust that what I have put in her, it's going to bear fruit in her life wherever she's at, and then trust that God will protect her. I mean, I cannot be around her all the time, and know that I've been doing my part. I will continue to trust God in the rest, and kind of let them fly. And it's been hard but good. She started an internship at a local farm. She wants to be a veterinarian, so I
Oh,
figured this would be a good opportunity for her to ensure and kind of solidify that desire. So I don't know anybody at the farm. I don't know who comes in and out of the farm. So it, it was a little difficult the first time, but let's see how it goes. I mean, she seems to be confident and she enjoys it. So I'm happy for her. And it's definitely, like you said, having to guide them, teach them, and then let them do it.
yeah, that's great. So tell me a little bit more about your homeschooling journey, and has it always been easy?
No, I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. I had the strong desire to do it. I read books, and I followed people on Instagram, and I tried to prepare myself as much as I could, but nothing could prepare me for what I was going to um, encounter and how it was going to be. When I first started, I had a newborn, I had a toddler, and then I had a first grader, a 6-year old, and it was busy. At the time, I felt like I just had my head above water the whole time. But as I leaned on the advice of the people I met and that what I read, I try to basically spend most of my time reading to them, enjoying them, letting them play, and doing book parties after we finished reading out loud a book. And I, again, at the time, it seemed hard, but now I look back at those fond memories, and it's so special to me and to them. I mean, the ones that remember, my oldest too. Um, it's been hard. I think it took me a good 4 years to feel confident in what I was doing. Like the first year, it's like I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna try it out, try new things. Um, the second year, I started making some changes in curriculum because I noticed that um, my oldest wasn't enjoying the language arts, so I started deciding to make changes and growing in confidence on learning what my child needs, her learning style. And as I added another child, how they were completely different, and I had to start over what I thought was the correct way of doing things. And um, but then I got offered a, a job as a Spanish teacher at a local hybrid school. So we decided to try that for 2 years, and we did that. And the kids loved the school. I love teaching. Like I said, it was something that I've been discovering more that I enjoy. And but then now, when my fifth came around, I decided that going back to fully homeschooling was the best for our family. To be together, the kids wanted to spend more time together because when they go to school, they don't get to see each other. They see friends, but they don't build that bond as strong. And even though it was a hybrid, it was 2 days a week. The other 3 days, we were focused on finishing the paperwork. And it works great for some families. And that's, one way of homeschooling and being there to support your children. And just right now, at this time in my homeschool journey, we're back to fully homeschooling and enjoying being together all the time.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and seasons come and go and change. And there's nothing to say that in a few years that won't be a good season again for the new batch of youngsters. as they come up. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, being able to pivot and adjust based on the needs of the family in that season. Um, and I actually remember probably one of your first years homeschooling, you were already a part of our network
Mhm.
and you came along and helped with the Christmas party. And that was early days, wasn't it?
Yes. I'm so thankful for Unite because, again, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no support network because I didn't know anybody that was homeschooling. I did not grow up knowing anybody that homeschool. Again, this was something foreign to me, but it was a desire that I wanted. So having somewhere to plug in, somewhere to take my kids to meet other homeschoolers, um, the having the opportunities like the kids fair where they sold made things and sell them, or um, the cultural where everybody picked a different country and they got to explain. My kids love sharing about their heritage, as with their dad's side, the Colombian side, and they were so proud. I mean, we have a lot of memories just being able to share with people and unite, and it's been very helpful.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing the stories because, there's a lot of effort that goes in behind the scenes, and sometimes you can lose sight of the point. But, hearing from people that are involved now or have been before, that's just where the gold is. And it reminds me the reason. I love people. I love seeing them grow, and the Lord has gifted me with the ability to connect. Quite often I feel like the homeschooling matchmaker because I'll meet a new family and I'll think, oh, you should meet this other family, and then they meet and it's like their new best friends, and
Oh.
it's so much fun for me, and then I'm left with no new friends really, but no, just kidding. um, but no, but it's fun because I see, like, I can just see the Lord's hand at work there. Um, and there's a lot of prayer and thought that goes into all that we do. And we try to just follow his leading in all of those things. And so then when we see the fruit, it's just beautiful. So you recently participated in our ladies retreat.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
It was refreshing, definitely. Sometimes the homeschool mom journey can be lonely, especially because you're focusing on the kids and you kind of put yourself a little bit on the back burner, on what you need, because you're constantly just thinking about what they need and how to help them become better. So taking that little bit of time to refocus and refresh your mind, your soul, um, with other like-minded uh, homeschoolers, it really helps, um, just give you that extra push that you need to continue going forward. It was nice to see other people in different stages of the homeschooling journey. There were moms that had little kids younger than mine. There were moms that are moms that had already graduated kids, and it really helped me remember the younger times and see what I had to look forward to, as I prepared to get my eldest in high school in the next couple of years and graduating her, and knowing that all I can do is do my best to prepare them, and then they will have to make their own choices, and I can rest that the Lord will take care of them, no matter what. Um, I enjoyed from the retreat that we were able to share different experiences and know that I wasn't alone in my experiences, and the good and the bad and the ugly, and we were able to share resources with each other. It was good. I needed it, and I think it came right at the time where I was feeling a little burnt out. And when I told my husband, he was like, yeah, yeah, sure. Just go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter what we need to do. I think you need to do this, you know. And he actually took off a day off of work just to stay with the kids on Friday so that I could go because he felt that it was also important. So I'm really glad I got to participate and meet new people and just be part of it at that point.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, and thank you for dad, it is really it's a big deal when dads can come along and support us, and when our husbands, we know that they have our back. It is really helpful for us to know that we're all on the same team and they do support what we're doing. And I hope and pray that lots of the husbands out there are the same way.
And for those that are listening and they might not have 100% support of their husbands, I want to let them know that I understand because in the beginning my husband was very skeptic. I mean, he didn't, again, like me, had no experience in the homeschool community, um, and he was very focused on the how are they going to socialize, and I don't know if this is the right thing, but I think the Lord gave him peace in following my crazy ideas, and it took a few years for him to see the fruit of the labor. It actually, when we made the shift to the hybrid, not only did my children see it, but my husband saw that what I was doing before wasn't just me pushing and trying to do my will, but I was trying to prepare them. And when they saw the kind of the amount of work that they got from this hybrid school, they saw that, hey, maybe mom wasn't just giving me a whole bunch of work for no reason, or maybe it wasn't 5, 6 o'clock and we still weren't done with homework, and it was just bad time management, which I mean sometimes it could have been. um, but it's part of the journey, it's part of what we need to do, and it's not going to look the same every single day in the homes, in the homeschool house. It's not going to be um it's not going to be perfect, but I think my husband was able to see that my kids were learning, my kids were where they were supposed to be. They excelled when they went back to the school. It's not like they were behind. It's not like they were missing anything. On the contrary, and it took that for him to see that, hey, maybe this homeschool thing is working out, and they'll come around with if we continue in prayer and seeking God's will.
Oh, that's beautiful. What would you say you would like to see? Let me rephrase that.
Mhm.
Where would you hope to see Unite going in the future?
Hmm. I think hmm.
If that's too ethereal, that's okay.
Mhm.
Um,
So are you thinking
are there
like
any programs that we've done in the past that you think we should repeat, or any new ideas that you've had pop in your head?
well, I wish I like how the homeschool network and the app kind of gives us so many ideas and opportunities to connect with others, to do field trips for them to learn, to do fun things just for the kids to hang out. um, and there is like the ladies retreat. um, Maybe just figuring out a way to connect more locally. I feel like there are some of us that are a little farther away from the main hub in Woodstock, that maybe there would be an easier way to connect with people in our areas, so that we can find those closer friendships. Because distance can put a damp in the logistics of getting kids together, and um, I would like for them to find those longtime friends, those that are,
Mhm.
you don't just see them quarterly, or every couple of months, or once a year, but that they create that bond that we could see each other more often, like weekly, or I don't know. It's the social aspect is still hard when you're homeschooling. They do have so many opportunities. They my kids go to church on Wednesdays and on Sundays and have those. We do a co-op in the area. They see their friends once a week there, or as my daughter is in a musical theater, she sees them more often because of practices. But just I don't know. I think that is a question that a lot of homeschool moms, we all still are trying to figure out. What is the best way to help my kids form those lifelong relationships? Um, I don't have the answer yet. You probably have more experience than I do, um, but making it easier on the app, or somewhere to find those. I don't know,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from what I've seen, it comes when we have consistent times together, and even if it's just every other week, a standing play date at the park or something, that many of the same families can come along, and the more people come, the better off it is. And so I think I hope that parents realize that the app does allow members to add things to the calendar, and um, I don't know what keeps people from wanting to do that all the
Mhm.
time, but some members are able to do that, and so my hope and prayer is that lots of moms um, will at least find those consistent things and be able to go join in, or if there's not that much in your area, to be like, I can commit to two play dates a month, and just start there and then allow it to grow. Those really early days when Unite was just PE in the park, um, it did come down to me and my friend committing to be there every Wednesday, or was it Thursday at the time? It's changed a few times. I think it was Wednesday to start with, um, and we just bet we were there every week, and we came with games and balls and a plan, and lots of people turned up, and so it was that faithfulness that we needed to be there, and then as it changed, we needed more faithfulness from the moms as well, in order to be able to have that long-term solid relationship opportunities. So
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
agree. It definitely takes being consistent and putting the effort, especially for those of us that are more introverted. We have to be intentional to put ourselves out there for our kids and ultimately for ourselves. So because we will, like the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. So we do need to put ourselves out there and meet with others that will help us grow in our spiritual walk, in our homeschool walk as a mom, um, and in just life in general.
That's right. And iron sharpening iron is not easy, and it's not always fun.
No.
But it is important. And I think that today's culture, there's a lot of this concept of, oh, well, you looked at me wrong, or you said something that offended me. I'm not going to go back.
Mhm.
And I think that's actually breaking society, because people aren't pushing forward to try to actually bring resolution to a situation. And the likelihood is that it probably had nothing to do with you. That sideways look had nothing to do with you. It was more about, you know, something that they were worried about or whatever. And so I think people take offense really fast these days, and that's hurt. That's just hurting society and our children. And I would hope that Unite Mamas um, are able to talk things through, and If they need a mediator, to find a mediator to help with that, whether it's their local pastor or a seasoned veteran mom, or but somebody that's outside of the situation that they can say, I was really hurt, and this is how we can move forward. And I have seen some of that happen within the community, and so it does give me hope that homeschool mamas are able to rise above some of the typical mama drama that happens. And so I do. I think that Unite Mamas are cut from a different cloth. That we're in it for the long haul, and we're in it to make sure that our kids have good examples about what healthy relationship looks like, because they're not going to see that probably anywhere else.
No, definitely. I think that is the main thing, to remember that we are the examples, right? And our kids look at us. That is the best way we can teach them, by our example. And sometimes it's hard, to be that example. It's easier to say, this is what you do when this happens, but it's harder to walk the walk. And I think that it's an opportunity when we encounter those situations to be able to rise above, like you said, and just
That's right.
be what our kids need.
That's right. And to follow the Lord's example, he wanted us to speak truth in love,
Mhm.
and that's what we're trying to do every day for with and for our kids, and show them what it looks like. So
Definitely.
thank you so much, Melanie, for coming on. Did you have any questions for me about Unite?
Angela, what do you see Unite becoming as in the years to come? What do you see it growing into?
Sure. Well, so I have always kind of walked this journey open handedly with the Lord. And early on, it was really just an obedience to Him, telling me that mamas needed to get off of social media. And so that's where the app came from. But as we've kind of journeyed down this path, waiting for Him to open the right doors, um, I do believe that at some point we're going to have a really great homeschool resource center. The one that we have right now is tiny. It's only 600 square feet, and it's already bursting at the seams with books of virtue, things that are good and healthy for the homeschool family. And we don't have enough parking there. We only have two spaces that we can expect to always be available, and that's not enough. um, and so I would really love to see, in the next couple of years, hopefully even, a bigger, better facility that families can all gather around and not worry about what day of the week it is, or if the parking lot is going to be full because it's Friday afternoon or whatever. And just somewhere that the community can just be excited about, finding resources and fellowship with each other. And so that is my hope. And the Lord put that hope in my heart. It was definitely not something that I started off with thinking, but I have seen Him do it before, and I've seen Him do it in amazing, miraculous ways. And so I'm just waiting to see what He's going to do. The Unite board is committed to being good stewards of finances, and we've been extremely good and generous stewards so far. And so we'll just see what He does. I do know that He blesses faithfulness,
Mhm.
and so I'm just holding on to that promise and waiting to see what He wants to do next.
Awesome. I had another question, but I lost it as I was waiting to ask you.
Oh, that's okay.
um, yes. Okay. So I know that now, member to become members, people need to pay a membership fee, but what are some opportunities that people that are on a tighter budget can do?
Sure. Yeah, well, so we actually do offer a scholarship program if families find the $6.99 a month volunteer option to be too expensive for them. We don't feel that $6.99 is probably too much for many families, but there are some families that are extremely tight. And that membership option, the volunteer one, we only ask that families do 4 things a year. So that hopefully is not too much for most families. But if there is some extenuating circumstance, we do have an application where families can apply for a scholarship membership. And we will see where they're at and if we can give them an even further reduced option or potentially a free option. We tend to not give completely free, typically, just because we feel that people do value what they pay for, whether it's their time or their talent or their money. Um, and so we do ask that even a scholarship membership be willing to participate and help make the community thrive. And if that means helping with setup things or helping to plan an event or, being willing to come on here and do an interview, all different ways that people can help to support the community. We are open to that concept, but I we there it takes a lot of effort to run an organization of this scale, and so we can't give it away for free to everybody all the time. But those who are willing to get involved, there is plenty of opportunity to do that. And so we would love to just help find those people who want to invest, whether it's their time or their talent or their treasure. We want to help them find their community within the homeschool world.
And are you planning to still have like the resource center and most of the activities still in the Woodstock, Canton area, or do you think you would see that expanding more into other counties? I mean, I know they do
Well,
Cobb County
yeah.
and all that, but I feel like most of them are over there, and it's where most of the moms are for sure.
Well, I believe that there are homeschool mamas everywhere. And so it really comes down to, do we have somebody who can be boots on the ground to make something happen?
Hmm.
And, um, I happen to be in the Woodstock area and I'm currently a huge volunteer. And so, because of that, a lot of things are near where I am. But if we had families in pretty much any North Georgia geographic location that were willing to help facilitate things, we want to help them do that. And so we have a lot of systems in place that are ready for somebody to kind of just jump in, whether it's um, needing a facility to rent, we can help them figure that out. We have our field trip program that anybody can put a field trip onto our calendar. So, the way that our field trip program works is we have a field trip administrator who's going to handle all of the details for you. You literally just fill in a little form to say, I'd like to go to the zoo and we want to pet the turtles. And so our field trip administrator is going to finish all of those details for you. She's going to create the opportunity on the network. She'll create the payment processing. She'll set it all up with the venue. And then the day before you've scheduled to go, because you're going to say, you want to go on the 15th of May, um, and she'll set it all up. So then the day before, you'll actually get an email from her with the check-in information for all the people who want to join you, and you're going to get the discount off of the venue or off the field trip. And you just show up and check, check, check. Everybody's here. Let's go have fun. And you didn't have to do any of that legwork to get there. You just said what day you wanted to go and where you wanted to go, and then we make it happen for you. So there are plenty of ways that parents can benefit from the Unite Network, that we try to make it as easy as possible and in order to facilitate those opportunities.
So what you're saying is the field is ready, but the workers are few. And we just need to, and you made it so easy for us to actually be able to work at it, but we're not doing it.
Oh,
It's,
amen. I couldn't have said it better myself.
it's hard, when you're trying to juggle, homeschooling and keeping up with the house and keeping up with any, all the other activities that you are trying to see. Many people have the kids in extracurriculars and all of that, but you made it even easier for us to just take the first step and be the leader that we need. Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly. We're trying to make it as easy as we can for you guys, and well, for all the mamas, because I think that there's a lot of folks who do want connection and they don't know where to start, and so we're trying to help that be a little bit easier.
Yeah, my son just went on the Braves game science activity, and it was so great. My husband was able to go with him, and we kind of kept it a surprise until that point. He says he wants to be a scientist, so I thought it was going to be a fun field trip for him, and he had so much fun. He enjoyed it, and I'm thankful for the mama that decided that she was going to take that on and lead that. He was able to see a friend that he had seen at previous outings, so it was a really neat experience for him, and uh, I think it inspires me to. Okay, it's not as hard as I think. I just have to, like I tell my daughter, it's starting what seems the hardest, but once you start doing it, it becomes easier. It kind of flows.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, this has been so fun, Melanie. Thank you for taking time out of your day, and hopefully the kids haven't destroyed the kitchen too badly.
Yeah, I'm
And
hoping the same.
all right. Well, I'm going to let you go, but thank you. Thank you again for coming on and for all of your words of encouragement.
Thank you for inviting me, Angela.